roster. I don't sleep well, he told us last night. Well, I'm sure he's spending a lot of sleepless nights of late.
Chris Barr will kick off as the Chargers have won the toss and elected to receive. Gary Anderson, number 40, is back there with Andy Parker, a backup tight end. Excuse me, with Timmy Ware, backup wide receiver. And we're underway in San Diego. Anderson to about the 27-yard line, and the Chargers offense will come out. Offensive lineman, Pro Bowl alternate in 1986. And the Chargers will give it to Anderson on a wing-back reverse. First play, 35-40, almost the 45-yard line. He's chased out of bounds by Stacy Turan. A 17-yard game for Gary Anderson.
Of them at all.
When Al Saunders took over from Don Coryell last year, he wanted more balance in this ball club. But Fouts knows how to do one thing, and that's throw. And he completes to his rookie tight end, Rod Bernstein, at midfield. And Bernstein, one of 4 tight ends on this roster. Here's the way the Raiders line up on defense, led by 4 straight Pro Bowl selection. Howie Long, number 75, at the left end. The linebackers are a little changed up tonight because Reggie McKenzie is injured. That means Robinson moves inside, and former Charger Lyndon King starts on the outside. The secondary, Van McElroy, went to the Pro Bowl in '83 and '84, and they have had a problem back there since Lester Hayes was injured, and Mike Haynes is falling off a bit at the corner. And they'll go straight up the middle with Tim Spencer, the fullback, who's only averaging about 3 yards a gain this year, or 3 yards a try this year. They'd like to get some more production out of Barry Redden.
There's Al Saunders, was once the...
Evened out as a club. They run almost now as much as they pass. A lot harder to read.
3rd and 1, which used to be a passing down almost always for Fouts, and now they'll go with a full house backfield. James, who will switch to wide receiver. He'll come up shy, and a flag comes down late in the pile. Matt Millen made the stop. Pat Haggerty, our referee tonight, and we'll get the call from him. And it will go against San Diego, but the run came up shy of a first down anyway.
We might watch the play of the center, Don Masick. Last night, Bill Pickell told me Masick is the holdingest center.
Offense, number 80, decline, 4th down.
That was on Winslow, but number 60 is Masick. And Pickell told me he's the holdingest center in the game, Masick, number 60.
Chris Woods is back to receive the punt of Rolf Mosienko. Woods, number 4 in the conference in punt returns, averaging 12 yards a pop. Mosienko, the left footer, sails it out of there. And Woods at the 12. Special teams have helped San Diego this year to that 7-game win streak. He gets back to the 19-yard line. Eric Seaver's down on special teams. 37-yard kick and a 7-yard return. And there is Mark Wilson.
No question that he alienated himself by being the first player to cross the picket line, claiming that he'd lose the last year of his $1 million salary if he didn't go back in. Sean Jones told me he didn't think that was true, and by crossing so quickly, Wilson lost whatever chance he had of ever becoming a real leader of this team.
Backs and receivers, James Lofton, another 30 yards. He reaches 10,000 for his career, although Allen and Smith will start. Look out for Bo Jackson, number 34, and he is already in the lineup with Allen. Jackson, his first carry. Barrels into the line, gets up to about the 22-yard line. The offensive line has been a problem for the Raiders. This is only the 2nd week that this particular group has been able to work together because of injuries. And we already have a fight. We've only played 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and they're going after each other.
Well, I've got to tell you that the Chargers are going to have a $50 fine for any Charger who does not retaliate if he is in any kind of a cheap shot or any kind of a fight. So you will not see any intimidation. Roy, I cannot reveal my sources, but I must tell you, it is never.
That's really true, a $50 fine for not retaliating? This is Dean Miraldi, and this is Marty Bayless. Yeah, here we go.
Now, who's taking the cheap shot there, folks? See the Raiders get a bad reputation. Now, there's a man laying down, and he's kicked while he's laying down. I promise to take a course here right down the middle and call this game fair and square, but that was a cheap shot.
We might point out it was after a shove.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, point it out.
Be the last time I do that.
No, go ahead.
Second and 18 as they're backed up to the 12-yard line. Allen. Across the 15 to about the 17-yard line. Jeffrey Jackson, number 52, in on the stop. Let's take a look at that Charger defense, which has been very surprising. They've got an excellent pass rush, especially out of Lee Williams. Mike Charles, the reject from Miami and Tampa Bay, has played well at the nose tackle. The linebackers, what an addition, Chip Banks. Billy Ray Smith said he just loves seeing this guy come into camp. Jackson, a replacement player. Thomas Benson was a holdout in the backfield. Elvis Patterson, Toast, has done a great job for them, as has Martin Bayless at the safety. Third down, 13 yards to go for the Raiders. And Wilson to throw for the first time. Stood in the pocket and it's intercepted. Picked off by Billy Ray Smith. And the Chargers defense, called the cast-off, has come through again. After where he wanted to go was intended for Lofton, and Billy Ray Smith was right there. The lone remaining back is Tim Spencer as the Chargers get the first break of the game. And Fouts trying to take advantage. And throw short, intended for Chandler. There is another flag down, and it's in the San Diego backfield. Haynes on the coverage and was all over Chandler.
Holding, number 68, offense.
That calls on Gary Kowalski, the big right tackle, 273 pounds, and Al Saunders.
And he's angry.
First and 20. I'm sure that won't make Kowalski happy. Put James in the slot. And Anderson goes out as a wide receiver. Spencer remains in it. He'll get the ball on the delay, and Rod Martin had him in a hurry.
Raider defense is really trying to establish things in a hurry. Rod Martin there is one of the great leaders of the Raider defense. He's trying to show the people he has a lot of years left.
Rod Martin playing with a broken thumb in this league. That's pretty tough stuff to do.
Well, in this league, in the NFL, the not-for-long league, you have to play with breaks and pains and shots of Novocaine. It's a must. You have to play that way in this game. It's a violent game, but it's a beautiful game.
Second and 21 for Dan Fouts, trying to take advantage of a Raider mistake and Mark Wilson's interception. Barry Redden, number 20, is in the backfield for the first time. And Fouts goes deep, double coverage, incomplete. He was throwing for Anderson, and the Raiders got good coverage back there. Van McElroy on two passes that he's thrown downfield. Some question of whether he has the arm strength that he wants to. And movement in the line, and raising up first was James Fitzpatrick, the left guard.
Ball start, number 70, offense.
Third and now 26 for the Chargers, who are going in the wrong direction. Three-man rush. Townsend is in there, and Fouts drops it underneath to Winslow. Lyndon King comes over to hit him along with Rod Martin. There is a flag down on the play. Winslow's a great story, being able to come off that devastating injury.
As we wait for the call on the play, I'll say this, that it was really one of the most remarkable comeback stories.
Billy uses the hands, number 48, defense.
Penalty against the Raiders.
That's on Lionel Washington. And what a break for San Diego. Facing third and 26, they'll get a first down.
Anyway, back to win.
He always feels pressure. Win or lose, they put it on themselves. Adams into the ballgame for the first time. Really takes a shot as he was drilled by Jerry Robinson, who moved to an inside linebacker tonight in place of Reggie McKenzie.
You talk about Jerry Robinson. This is a man who was very troubled, obviously. He had the drug allegations, possession of cocaine. He claims that it's still an alcohol problem and not a drug problem. He's going to AA, talking to a lot of high schools, and he's working the deferment program in the offseason. A number, unfortunately, of drug problems on both teams on the field here tonight. We'll try to outline it as the game develops.
And he's playing great football.
Holohan is in there with Winslow as a double tight end. Holohan in motion, and they go for it. Holohan out of bounds at the 11-yard line. It will be a first down. May have the best hands of any tight end in the league right now.
Hold a lot, but he's still a good one.
First and 10, Chargers just outside the 10. Anderson. Got two, maybe three. Howie Long, and coming up from the secondary, Van McElroy in on the stop for the Raiders. Three tight ends in now for the Chargers on 2nd and 8. Adams, the remaining back. Fouts for Winslow, knocked down, almost intercepted by Stacy Turan, the safety. And Fouts got it there uncharacteristically late.
If Turan makes the play, he's got an open field in front of him.
And how many inches away do you think he was from having a 100-yard touchdown return here? I didn't get to finish that statement to you, but the Raiders were just inches away from really turning this, being 5-3 instead of 3-5. And there you have Stacy Turan with a great effort.
Winslow appeared to be open at the goal line. Now it's 3rd and 8. Four-man rush, wide open, Winslow. Touchdown, Chargers.
$100,000 he makes.
Vince Abbott for the point after. It's good. And the Chargers take advantage of Mark Wilson's interception and have taken a 7-0 lead over the Raiders first quarter. Club a 7-0 lead. A low driving kick knocked down by one of the up men, and now the Raiders will fall on it at the 14-yard line. Special teams, such a huge part of this game, and so far the Raiders have come up short.
That's 33% part of the game. Then we got indecision on the kickoff return team. You can't have that.
Here it is one more time. They just didn't feel the ball cleanly at all.
Well, that's kind of tough for linebackers. Hands are all taped up. Goes to Matt Miller's hands. All you want to do there is jump on the ball and cover it at that time when there's a muff.
Here's the scoring drive. Only went 22 yards and was kept alive because of a penalty against the Raiders. Steve Smith is in there at fullback, and Marcus Allen breaks it. 40. And Gilbert caught him from behind along with Bensie Glenn at the Raider 40-yard line after a 44-yard run.
We talked before about Kellen Winslow owning the Raiders. Marcus owns the Chargers. In fact, he has failed to get 100 yards against the Chargers only once in 5 years. Yet there has been a drought for Allen. He's had only one 100-yard game in the last 16 outings. He's got to play better tonight.
2 years ago, he rushed for over 1,700 yards, then lost 1,000 of that a year ago. Only 759. Allen on the little swing. Linebackers waiting for him, and nobody makes the tackle, and Allen gets down to the 35-yard line. Got away from 3 guys before Bensie Glenn and Chip Banks knocked him down.
He loves to play on the natural grass. Part of it, too, is because he grew up playing on natural grass.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he was brought up at USC. Just like Bo Jackson loves the artificial turf.
And he played here, too, for the state championship at Jack Murphy Stadium for Lincoln High School.
Marcus Allen is very tough, especially on our natural grass.
7 minutes, 45 seconds to go in the quarter. 7-0. Bo Jackson into the ball game, just plunges ahead for maybe a yard. Chip Banks again in on the tackle, and what a job Banks has done for San Diego.
Well, he hasn't exploded yet, but Bo Jackson, believe me, sometime tonight will. He is the finest physical specimen I've ever seen in football, Howie Long told me. He's the fastest football player I've ever coached, that Dick Steinberg of the New England Patriots runs a 4.18 on the AstroTurf, maybe the fastest running back of all time.
That's unbelievably fast.
He is a physical specimen. 3rd and a yard. Jackson in the same backfield with rookie Steve Smith out of Penn State. Jackson. It'll be close, and a flag is down again late in the middle of that pile.
You see a late flag like that, it's usually against the offense. We'll see what Pat has to say here.
And the preliminary...
About 8 to 10 points better to make up for the calls that were made against him. For some reason, I don't know why, he usually gets a little more calls on the Raiders, maybe because of the Raider aggressiveness.
That was the second holding call on Dean Maraldi. It's 3rd and 11. 4-man rush. Wilson will try to run for it, and he's got the first down. To the San Diego 27-yard line. Nice job by Mark Wilson. Mike Charles had to chase him down.
Now here's a situation that develops. Wilson is not known for his scrambling ability. He doesn't have very good mobility, hasn't fared well under pressure, but looked real well this time.
Well, here he's handling the pressure real well. He sees that there's an opening, I don't believe that 71 did, but 71 caught him, and 71 is about 320 pounds.
That's
Mr.
Mike Charles, the nose tackle, yeah.
Very nice job by Mark Wilson and excellent hustle by Charles.
It's a first down. Wilson out of the quarterback factory at Brigham Young. Allen cuts it outside. Nice move by Marcus Allen. Picks up 5 or 6. Driven out of bounds by Gil Bird. There is another flag down, the preliminary indication, another offensive holding against the Raiders.
People talk about the offensive line just killing the Raiders this year, and they had 13 offensive line changes. We'll wait for the signal here. Just one moment.
Holding, number 35, offense.
Steve Smith.
But remember this, the Raiders have no one to fault but themselves on the problems of the offensive line. Before this year, they have not drafted an offensive lineman any higher than a number 6 pick in the last 5 years. They've got a lot of inexperience. You take a look at the holding right there.
That was a takedown by number 35, Strahan. That's Strahan or Smith?
Steve Smith, yeah.
Smith.
That wasn't on the offensive line, though. That was Steve Smith, the running back.
First and 20. Wilson had the pocket collapse around him. Completes it. Billy Ray Smith makes the tackle as they got it to Todd Christensen for the first time.
Here's Todd Christensen, another guy who likes to make his living against the Chargers. Had 11 catches the last time out. Here you see on the ISO 2s.
There's nobody chucking him on the line. That's very important. You got to get your hands on Mr. Christensen on the line. And by the way, he just had another baby boy, number 4 this week. And congratulations to Mrs. Christensen. Mr. Jim Plunkett.
Quarterback who's hit Christensen more than a few times. 2nd and 7. Penalty-filled first quarter. Blitz coming. And Allen couldn't break the little seam. It looked like he had. He stopped at the 24-yard line. Billy Ray Smith in there again, along with...
The offensive line hasn't been together more than 2 weeks at a time. Now, we've got some players, number 75 coming in here. Joe Phillips, the guy that starred on First and 10 with the 2s.
Yeah, the TV show, First and 10.
He's a real good actor, too, and he's a real tough, hard-nosed, aggressive player. They got him when Minnesota cut him, and he's a replacement player.
Chargers only giving up, were giving 10 fewer points per game this year. Big difference from last year, defensively.
Mark Wilson uses a timeout on 3rd and 7 with 4:18 to go in the first quarter. And the Raiders trying to tie it up. We'll see when we come back. Of course, he's got a great view of San Diego at Jack Murphy Stadium. Charger fans really fired up here. Their team leading 7-0. It is 3rd and 7. Marcus Allen will go out to a wide receiver spot. And Smith the lone remaining back. Plenty of time for Wilson. Throws deep sideline and overthrown. Intended out there for Fernandez, and a nice job by Elvis Patterson. Toast has not been getting burned this year.
Toast is the toast of San Diego. As a matter of fact, Elvis Patterson, after being cut by the Giants probably so quickly he had to change in the parking lot a few weeks ago, was a hero. He said in a replacement game, I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to be the guy that turns this game around. Came up with a 75-yard interception to beat the Raiders.
Chris Barr will attempt a field goal. It would be his longest of the season. They'll spot it at the 32, so it's a 42-yard try. And he hooked it and missed it. That's the way the Chargers season has gone this year, and also the way the Raiders season has gone. First quarter, still 7-0 San Diego.
Of Los Angeles football, spell it L-O-S-S. In fact, coming into today, the Raiders and Rams combined have won only 4 of their last 23 games. That is futility.
They also have the best winning percentage for the last 25 years of any professional team.
But what have you done for me lately?
Thank you. That you're only as good as your last show. You're only as good as your last game.
Chargers take over. Have the ball at their own 24-yard line. A flag is down. And we've had a lot of them here in the first quarter. And they played a big part in this game. And it's a motion penalty against San Diego.
Number 1, look at this. The Celtics breathing down their necks there, twos. The Canadiens, the Habs, 65.4%. The Orioles, 56%.
I think the reason you're seeing so many flags tonight is because they know it's a very emotional game. You can tell, folks, the way we're speaking tonight, we're caught up in some of the emotion ourselves. But it's a very emotional game. The referees are trying to keep the game in check.
You loved coming down here, didn't you?
I always have loved coming here. It has always been big-time football when you play down Charger time.
And there's a big-time quarterback. Sam Rutigliano said they'll have to build a special wing in the Hall of Fame for him, and they will. Big rush. Fouts stands in there, got rid of it, incomplete, intended for Winslow, coupled by McElroy at the 31-yard line. Howie Long, a lot of pressure on him. You have to admire Dan Fouts. He has no mobility whatsoever. Last week he had a 2-yard run. It was the longest in 2 years. Al Saunders said, well, next is a quarterback draw. I don't think so.
When he got the 2-yard gain, there were kids in the stand who took the next day off from school. I mean, this was a holiday, folks.
So did Dan.
At the same time, he's one of the finest passers in the league. The secret to stopping Dan Fouts is get pressure up in his face.
Go with a 3 wide receiver set and the delay. Flag down as Lionel James brought down to the 31-yard line for no gain.
There's where Lionel Little Train James' size came into being. You lost him in that crowd.
Paul Conan earlier when I made reference to number 6. Number 62 is Don Mason.
Chris Woods back to receive the kick of Mosienko, has done a fine job, number 1 in the AFC in punting average. We're down to 3:31 first quarter. Chargers by touchdown. Raiders showing the rush. They come hard, don't get there. And Mosienko lines it out of there to Woods at the 22. And the Chargers, after holding back the rush, did a nice job of covering after a 51-yard punt. Only an 8-yard return. Rod Bernstein downfield to make the tackle.
He uses the third person a lot, saying Bo instead of I, but he's had a speech problem. The real reason is he can't really pronounce the word I as well as he'd like. Bo Jackson has worked hard on a speech impediment, and Auburn teammate Lionel James told me the media attention is forced to improve him in that area. He's a great football player. You'll see a lot of him tonight.
A la Lester Hayes. He had a speech impediment, and he really improved a lot. Maybe Bo is just not the selfish person. That's why he doesn't say I so much.
He has learned the ground attack very well. He needs still some work in the passing game, and Allen and Jackson are in there together, the Heisman duo. And Wilson to throw out of that formation, dumps it off to Jackson. And the Chargers do a nice job of covering him up at the 35-yard line. Billy Ray Smith, the first man to him.
Did you see the way, too, is when he made the catch, he sort of shifted gears and actually dropped back for a moment before turning it on. Watch this.
He gets an extra 5 yards out of this. Billy Ray, who is one of the top linebackers, I feel.
Now watch, he stops and then
just
cuts
stops
around.
and then moves. Not very few backs can do something like that. That's just tremendous effort as well as ability.
Gain of 5 on the play, 2nd and 5. Allen hit at the line of scrimmage, lunges forward for a couple. And this has been done before as far as having 2 Heisman Trophy winners in the backfield, but the Raiders feel that they can do it better than Dorsett and Walker, and now we understand that the Cowboys have simply said it is time for Herschel Walker to be the tailback on this ball.
You think Allen and Jackson can play in the same backfield?
Absolutely, because I think they're both unselfish players, and you have to be unselfish in order to be a good football player.
Marcus Allen was a fullback for 2 years in college, so he can block. Wilson over the middle, incomplete. It'll bring up a 4th down, trying to hit Jesse Hester out of Florida State. And the one problem that Hester has had is holding onto the football.
All right, here's the end zone of Wilson, really kind of forcing it in the middle there. Hester, who's had his problems holding onto the football.
Should have had it.
He really should have had it. As a pro, once you touch it, you should have it.
He dropped one in the end zone last week, too.
Stan Talley comes on to punt, averaging 41.5 yards a kick. Little Train James standing back at the 15, and James, number 1 in the AFC, number 2 in the NFL, averaging 18.3 a return. A low kick, have to take it on the bounce and won't have a chance. Gets a Raiders roll inside the 20. And Stan Talley got away with a poor punt there. With the roll, it's 45 yards. Roy, you said something earlier. You called the Raiders a temporary team. What do you mean?
I think Al Davis, in a sense, is a temporary owner. They've got a temporary home. Is it L.A.? Is it Irwindale? They've got a temporary quarterback situation. Is it Wilson, Hilger, Plunkett, Evans? Temporary running back situation. Is it Bo? Is it Marcus? Whatever happened to Napoleon Callum? Temporary solutions. 7 of 11 players on offense are now starting.
Spencer, the lone remaining back, and Fouts wants to go to work. There's the Holohan to the 26-yard line. He's covered by Robinson and brought down. But that's what Fouts does so well, that quick passing game, the timing patterns. He's just something else.
Yeah, I said 7 of the 11 players, new players, brand new players. When I say temporary, they've got to make adjustments.
Here we're going to close up an ISO on Howie Long taking off. Now here he's taking half a man, but he's getting held in the face mask right here.
Isn't that illegal?
It sure is. Now you think if a Raider would have done that, what would have happened? I'm sorry, folks, but that's the way I call him as I see him.
7-year veteran of the Raiders, folks.
First and 10 at the 27. Adams in at the running back. Fouts unloads again. He hits Winslow up to the 42-yard line, covered by Robinson. And you're not going to make a living covering Kellen Winslow with a linebacker even at 6 out of 9, 62 yards and a touchdown. 35 seconds to go in the quarter. First down Chargers. Fouts another quick pattern and incomplete. Haynes was back there on the coverage of Chandler. And Fouts about a stride off on that one.
And it almost connected here with Chandler. Just misses.
Like Fouts, faced with his own, can pick it apart. Made a living for so many years off being able to play man-to-man with a corner. Fouts quickly over the middle of James, covered well by Fellows. Fellows, of course, they got in the trade from Dallas, and James wanted a flag. And Gary Kowalski, the right tackle, who we've seen blocking on.
That they didn't even run themselves. They never really went with zone. They were man-to-man. Is that hard for a coach to do, to teach something he doesn't know effectively?
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I've never liked a coach that never played football, because he didn't have the experience of actually being there. It's one of those guys when you have a 3.5-hour practice and you're dead tired, the guy wants to take 20 laps. He doesn't know how you feel because he doesn't have the experience of that. Likewise, we've always played, there's my first one. The Raiders have always played man-to-man, and they've always played it very well. Now, let's get back to
the dirtiest team in terms of leg whipping.
Well, they like to leg whip because of their lack of ability.
Kowalski, good news, left under his own power. 3rd and 10, Fouts under pressure. Townsend almost got there, throwing deep down the flag, and there it is. Anderson was covered by Lionel Washington, and Washington just decided to tackle him.
Well, he didn't see the ball. He was in a man-to-man. He wasn't playing the guy's eyes the way he should have. He just didn't look back to see where the ball was. He's playing the guy's face, and there he ran right into him.
Let me tell you something. As we take a look at this call right here, here it is, the official call.
48, defensive pass interference, first down.
Have penalties made a difference in this game?
Oh, boy.
Absolutely.
If Elvis Patterson was named toast in New York, Lionel Washington's been burned beyond recognition in L.A. Look at this. All over him, and he's been burned week in and week out. It's been a very disappointing aspect of the secondary.
Chargers, 1st and 10, 29-yard line. Adams, who is their best pure runner, barrels down to the 20.
Taking it right through the Raiders, right to the Raiders' strength, which is Howie Long and Matt Millen. They're showing they're not going to be intimidated.
By the way, Curtis Adams had his career best against the Raiders last year. He may be back tonight, too, for more.
It's been a very pleasant first quarter for the San Diego Chargers. They're up against their arch rival by a touchdown. The Raiders got away with one.
Boy, they sure did. It was a very nice day for the Raiders.
2nd and 2 for the Chargers. They'll run that full house backfield. And Fouts wants to throw out of the formation. Here comes the rush, and he threw it away.
Sure looked mobile on that play. I like the way Dan Fouts moved there. He's excited, too. You can see he's got 2 Anderson knee stablers on his knee there, because both of his knees are really damaged. And those are really helping him. If he gets any shots to his knee, they're protecting him a great deal.
We talked about at the top of the game, the fact that there were 4 games he missed. Real good news for Dan Fouts. He's ready to go now on the home stretch. He's healthy.
He's fresh, and he's hungry, and he's one of the best.
He had missed 3 or more games for 4 straight years. Of course, he's 36 years old, and he's taken a real beating. Winslow and Severs in as a double tight end. And they'll give it to Spencer on the toss. Spencer trying to get the first down, got to the 20. He'll be at least a yard shy of that and bring up a 4th down situation.
Well, even more importantly than the fact that he's 36 years old is the fact that he played 15 years in the league. In this league, the average career length is about 3.9. It's very tough to last in this league.
You know, Fouts wanted to be paid for the time he missed, the 4 games he missed. $187,000 he wanted to be paid for not playing.
Can't blame the guy.
Vince Abbott will try his first field goal with the team in the lead this season. That's an incredible stat. And he's hit big ones. Abbott's got it up and through. And the San Diego Chargers, with a 7-game win streak going, now lead the Raiders 10-0. Mueller and Williams deep to receive, and Mueller from just outside the goal line and only gets back to the 16-yard line. You win a lot of games on special teams, and the Chargers have had great special teams this year. Eric Sievers again.
Chargers are really hustling down. Excuse me, Michael. They're coming down full blast. These people are fired up. And when you got a fired up football team, you're in trouble, because football is 85% emotion.
That scoring drive, 64 yards, took over 4 minutes off the clock. Mark Wilson with an interception for the Raiders so far, only 3 out of 6 for 25 yards. Jackson and Allen in the same backfield again. Wilson to throw. Had a lot of time and gets it out complete to Fernandez. Loose ball. Looks like the Chargers. And it is.
There's emotion playing a factor right there. That was a great catch, but a good hard hitting and good hustle resulted in the recovery of that fumble. They can really get on top of the Raiders here and make it very tough to come back.
Well, you can't fault Mark Wilson on that one. The ball was right there. He's been a disappointment, Fernandez has. Warren Moon had called him Al Toon, reincarnated, if you will, a new kind of Al Toon football player. Saw more yardage upfield and the ball just coming loose.
Well, he made a great catch there. You got to hand it to him there, Roy, but he was carrying it too loose. Mr.
What
Fernandez.
a job by Jeffrey Jackson. First he causes the fumble and then hustles back to get it. And he's a replacement player out of Auburn, a free agent picked up this year.
That's Mervin Fernandez with the fumble.
He feels worse about that than anybody.
3 tight ends, Bernstein, Holohan, and Winslow in the ball game for San Diego. The Chargers with it at the 36-yard line. Right here, because the defense has played pretty good football all season. The offense has been the problem, and 2 turnovers tonight have really made a big difference.
You put some big points on the board, it takes away your running game, too. It takes away your Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen.
Makes it a lot harder to operate and keep people guessing.
The Chargers have come from behind 5 out of 6 games. They're not used to being ahead. Adams. Nice cutback. And gets to the 30-yard line. One of the problems with San Diego has been the fact that with Lionel James or Gary Anderson Andor, they have guys who are more talented receivers than they are running backs. Adams is a runner.
Yeah, again, this guy, Adams, Curtis Adams, who we said before, had maybe his best game of his career a year ago against the San Diego Chargers. He is not known for a lot of other things beyond running the football. In other words, he's not a great motivational leader or catching the football, but he can run the football.
And they can take that in San Diego. Second, 4 fouls. Incomplete, almost intercepted, and the flag is down.
It'll be on Washington again.
It was thrown away, I believe, from Washington.
I don't think it's on Washington.
Offensive pass interference, number 80.
On Winslow.
Sure. And Kellen Winslow has been called for offensive pass interference more than once. He is so strong, he gets away from the guys that are covering him. Sometimes he doesn't do it quite legally.
Well, plus he's got guys hanging all over him, and he gets tired of it. Being a tight end myself, University of Missouri, you really get tired of people hanging on to you, and so you do whatever you can to get away from them. I don't see anything that Kellen did there at all.
Nothing.
We've got some good referees in the NFL, but even they make mistakes once in a while.
Well, he acknowledges it, I guess, but I didn't see any infraction.
There wasn't.
Well, there sure wasn't. Maybe it was on someone else and they just had the wrong number. 2nd and 14 Chargers. Anderson at the 29-yard line, covered by McElroy and Haynes, but it's an 11-yard gain.
This Anderson really impresses me on that other play where he
accommodated his talents.
because he can do everything so well.
They have him out as the wide receiver now. 4-man rush. Fouts has a lot of time, throws it deep sideline. It's up for grabs and knocked away. That's the 3rd time Fouts has gone deep. The 2nd time for Chandler that the ball has just hung up there, and Lionel Washington knocked this one away.
Well, he thinks he can pick on Lionel Washington, and he's going to do that until something gives one way or another. With Chandler, he's really hard to cover. I don't care who you are. He's very tough to cover. He figures if he just throws it up for grabs, Chandler, 9 times out of 10, will come down with it.
Abbott, who has already made a 38-yarder, will have this spotted at the 37, so it's a 47-yard try. His long so far this year has been 42. The chance. It's good. And the Chargers take advantage of another break. And they are trying to run away and hide from the LA Raiders. 12-18 to go first half. It's 13-0. A 13-0 San Diego lead with 12-18 to go in the first half. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and John Matuzak with you from San Diego. Glad you could join us on ESPN. The Chargers on a 7-game win streak. The Raiders have lost 5 straight. Right now, it looks like both of those streaks could continue. Miller. Nice job by Vance Mueller staying on his feet and getting back out to the 30-yard line. There is another flag down, however, and Eric Sievers makes his 3rd tackle on kick coverage.
Clock in the back, number 78 on the return.
Well, there's a call that has become so familiar, an illegal block on a kick return, and that's against John Clay, a backup offensive tackle. And there's the scoring drive after the second turnover of the ball game. Only went 7 yards, not much of a drive.
You're talking about John Clay, the #1 pick, overweight, 300 pounds from Missouri, getting beat every week on the offensive line. Another hand-picked Al Davis selection who's not ready to play.
Well, he just sets his power base a little too narrow when he goes into pass protection. He's psychologically, he's going to get there. He's going to be a good one, but he's really not quite there yet.
Allen and Jackson in the backfield together. Bo Jackson. Blinding speed, gets up to the 19. There's not only, Roy, a lot of talent in that backfield, there's a lot of big paychecks.
You're talking about a $3 million backfield between Marcus and Bo and Mark Wilson, who gets $1 million a year. By the way, people talking about Bo Jackson, what does he stand to lose if he plays baseball? He'll probably lose if he decides to leave baseball, I should say, probably lose about $500,000 and another $150,000 bonus, but it still wouldn't be a pay cut if he goes play football.
Got 9 on the last 2nd and 1. Allen. He'll have the first down. Took a real shot. Chip Banks, the first guy to hit him. And Banks has been a wonderful story for San Diego. A guy who was resurrected, terribly unhappy in Cleveland. He comes over here, and they say he's got the greatest attitude in the world.
The key to this, though, was Al Saunders literally going to his doorstep in Georgia and say, hey, Chip, I know you had problems in Cleveland. I want you to play here. It impressed Chip Banks.
And tough. They said he had a 3rd-degree separated shoulder a week ago. They couldn't get him out of the game, and they couldn't keep him from practicing this week. The flag is down, so is Bo Jackson. And brought down by Billy Ray Smith at the 25. Can you imagine how Billy Ray Smith feels? Labored here for several years with almost no help, and all at once he looks around and he's got other guys who can play defense.
Like Chip Banks. We'll wait for the call here. I'll tell you about what Chip Banks means to Billy Ray Smith. It's on Dean Maraldi again.
That's 3.
Well, he had a takedown here.
Holding, number 64, offense.
A hat trick. Boy, that's the kind of hat trick you don't want. You'll see it on the right side of your screen here. Dean Maraldi on the hold. Here it is, Tooz.
Well, he basically just runs over the guy, but the problem was he just holds on to him as he's going down right there.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's too much of a takedown. He had the block. He didn't have to do that.
Welcome to wrestling.
Penalties absolutely killing the Raiders. 10 for 85 yards. Wilson under pressure, got it to Allen. Marcus Allen out to the 25-yard line. Fine job, and Banks had to bring him down after Billy Ray Smith couldn't get to him.
Marcus Allen, of course, not real fast unless someone's chasing him. But this is the first time in 3 weeks he's played on the regular surface, and he shows that he likes it a lot better.
It's just so much nicer to fall on Mother Earth than it is on a half-inch padding 6-foot cement-based surface.
Chip Banks, his former teammate at SC, making the stop there.
Chip Banks very tough.
2nd and 7. Jackson now wide receiver pointing to the top of the screen. Look out! Coming through, Chuck Ian, the nose tackle. He gets the sack. And this club now has 36 sacks on the year, #1 in the AFC.
Well, you're going to see why. They got pressure coming right up the middle. It's always tough for any quarterback if he's got pressure up the middle. And here they come. He's got a safety blitz. The man that gets the sack here.
Chuck Ian.
Chuck Ian. Bayless is there too also, but hitting people real hard. He's a real hitter. I like Bayless. But you can't throw if somebody's in your face.
Look at Bayless from the trade from Buffalo in August.
I like him.
He's done a nice job for them. 3rd and 15 in the game now being dominated by San Diego. Another blitz in the draw to Allen. Oh, what a great tackle. Stopping him at the corner, Charles Romes, number 29. Another guy they picked up for nothing from Buffalo. Started 148 straight games for the Bills, and he's made a difference.
If he wouldn't have stopped Marcus there, you can see here Marcus was gone for at least first down yards. This is a great, great tackle.
Right by the shoe.
Super back. Yes.
Beautiful.
He would have been gone.
Vince Stan Talley, comes on to punt. And a little train James back at his own 40. It's 13-0 Chargers, 8:55 to go in the half.
And Little Train should get a return here.
Pretty sailing kick this time, and James at the 37.
Good coverage.
A 44-yard kick, but a good 13-yard return by the #1 punt return man in the AFC. Second quarter, and the Raiders self-destructing, and San Diego taking advantage of it, leading 13-0. We invite you to join us at Eastern from Big D. And around James. And played beautifully out there by Lyndon King, the former San Diego Charger. You don't think he loves it.
You talk about Lyndon King. Here's a guy who ripped Alex Spanos, the owner of the Chargers, this week. He says, hey, I get a kick out of Spanos now, thinking he's a winner. Spanos doesn't have any team concept whatsoever. It's a hobby to him. He thinks he can buy everything, but you can't buy knowledge, and Spanos doesn't know anything about football. A former Charger, Lyndon King.
Talk about knowledge, excuse me, Roy. Talk about knowledge. He stayed at home and played that just right.
2nd and 14 for the Chargers, back at their own 45. James goes for a wing. The remaining back is Spencer. Fouts floats one out there for Anderson, who had gotten away from Lionel Washington. Washington fell down, but Fouts had thrown the ball before that occurrence. Fouts not having a great night, but he's up 13-0. The ball seems to be just floating out there.
Not a Hall of Fame performance for Fouts so far tonight. Something to remember, too, folks. He has lost more games than he's won, although it's not all his fault, and thrown many more interceptions than he has touchdown passes in the last 5 years.
I'll take a lot of books.
Yeah, I'll take him, too. Now, he's a pretty good football player, though, folks. Don't get me wrong.
3rd and 14, Raiders show blitz. Raiders were offside. Flag is down. Fouts with a free one, and he knows it. Gets it to Chandler at the 40. They give him his forward progress. That will be a first down. That's where experience comes in. Fouts knew he had a free one and just welded one in there to Wes Chandler.
He sure didn't let up. He knew he had that free one. He took full advantage of it by going to his top receiver.
Offside. Defense, number 75.
That's Howie.
Wesley Chandler. Wes Chandler, you know, he really has only played one full season in 6 years. Injuries have robbed him of his speed, but he's still a cagey veteran. Here he is working on another great one, Michael Haynes. Classic confrontation.
Number 14 all-time in the NFL. Number 4 active. Only Largent, Newsome, and Lofton are ahead of him. Fouts now 8 out of 16, 88 yards, and that 1 touchdown. And a big play there. Spencer may have gotten an early start. He'll pick up a couple.
We're talking before about Wes Chandler. Here's a guy who...
Why do those 3 games count?
Hey, that'll be in everybody's contract next year. 2nd and 8 Chargers. Blitz. Fouts reads it, gets it to Winslow. Winslow flattened by McElroy. Big hit over there, but Alan Winslow gives him a little slap, makes the tackle, and we've got more pushing and shoving going on.
Good respect there between those 2 players. McElroy may be the best in the AFC in this position, safety position.
Yeah, that was a very tough, hard hit, and I really like the respect that they show one another there.
Take a look at Rod Martin and Tim Spencer. A little pushing and shoving, and here it is. Hey, come on, man. Ooh.
Well, he won't get a $50 fine.
3rd and 3 Chargers. Already up 13-0 with 6:05 and counting on the clock. Another blitz. Fouts with good protection. Got it to Winslow. Fighting for the first down, but can't get it driven out of bounds by Stacy Turan.
That takes a lot of strength for a defensive back to wrestle somebody that size out of bounds. So that was an excellent play by Stacy Turan.
4th and 1. What do you think, Tuz? Go for it here?
Oh, they've got nothing to lose. They're going to go for it.
Sure. Boy, if they can score, if they can get a touchdown in this series, they can put this game away.
Absolutely. Or make it very tough.
It would be about a 48-yard field goal attempt if they brought Abbott in, but on 4th and 1, they'll go for it. Curtis Rouse and Sam Clappin come into the ballgame to beef up that offensive line.
Beef is the word. 340 pounds from Mr. Rouse.
Could be Spencer here on the call.
Spencer up front in the eye, Anderson behind him. Anderson dives.
There's good athletic ability.
Oh, that's pretty. Likes to fly better than he likes to run.
This man is unbelievable. He's 178 pounds. He can really move. We're going to see it right here in the replay. He takes off about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He's up.
Oh.
And he is over. That is just beautiful. They say football is violent, but it's also beautiful. There's why, because that was ballet to make Nureyev look funny.
I tell you, this guy's versatile, too, leading in rushing, receiving, punt, and kickoff returns a year ago. Gary Anderson, what an athlete.
McElroy made a heck of an effort. He was diving from the other side, trying to meet him in midair. Another blitz. Fouts in trouble. Lyndon King came and got him along with Matt Millen.
A little extra push is not necessary. That could have cost him 15 yards there. Be cool, Matt.
What did you tell me about Matt Millen smearing blood on his helmet?
Oh, there was a... Here comes the rush again. They're just coming right after him. There's Lyndon King gets that play, and then Matt Millen takes a little extra shove he doesn't need. But the thing I like about Matt is that he's kind of sick the way he plays the game.
He would smear blood on his helmet, right?
The first game that he ever played as a Raider was the Washington Redskins, and he got his hand cut and he smeared blood all over his helmet. And I said, oh, boy, do we got a middle linebacker.
First time they've gotten to Fouts at 2nd and 20. Another blitz, and they'll go with the run to Barry Redden. Redden wrapped up in a hurry by Howie Long back at the 42. And it looked like the Raiders have taken the chains off the defense.
Well, they sure have, and this is Howie's strongest move to the inside here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this angle, but he goes right inside, makes the play, wraps up the man real nicely.
Is he disappointing this year, Howie Long?
Well, you get so spoiled by seeing a guy all pro and a superstar all the time. Anything less than that is disappointing, but Howie won't disappoint you with his effort. He always gives 100%.
He was looking at films till 12:30 last night in his room.
He's a dedicated athlete.
3rd and 23. And jumping offside.
Got contact on the Raiders there. I should let the ref call it, but the Raider nose tackle made contact first. What do you say, Pat Haggerty on Milwaukee?
Encroachment. Defense, number 96.
It's 13-0 Chargers.
The Raiders can play zone defense.
Showing blitz again, and here they come. Fouts has time. That ball may have been tipped at the line of scrimmage. He got it to Anderson, covered by Haynes, shy of the first down at the 22. Maybe a yard and a half shy. Do you go for it again?
I'd say field goal, Mike.
I'd kick a field goal, and Fouts is coming out, and Abbott is coming in. Al Saunders would like to get the points to make it 16-0.
So we talked to Coach Saunders yesterday. Very impressed with him. I didn't think I would be because I heard that he made all those players taking knees, things like that. He's a very good coach and an excellent man.
From the 29, it'll be a 39-yard attempt. Abbott in a groove, and so are the Chargers. And this sellout record crowd in San Diego is loving every minute of it.
See him at the roulette wheel.
Well, not too many casinos in Vladivostok. Mueller from the 5. Charger special teams have been terrific. Wow. They are again. Timmy Ware, the first man down, got a piece of him. And then Bernstein was in there on the tackle.
Once
again, a great job by San Diego.
Thank you. Once again, the Chargers are just coming down full blast and not letting up. And that's all that special teams is effort and guts. and they're displaying a lot of both.
All right, we're seeing a pretty ineffective Mark Wilson, although it's by no means all his fault. Would you consider down the road Vince Evans next week or the week after activating this guy?
I like Vince Evans a lot, but Mark Wilson's got the experience right now. You got to go with who you came to dance with.
Raiders have also had miserable field position. Wilson the quick toss, and Bo Jackson slipped and couldn't get back up to make the catch.
The thing is that we've got Wilson starting in a hole just about every time, too. Let's take a look at Rusty Hilger on the sidelines here. He's trying to shield Chargers from stealing signals like they have done in the past.
Al may have overestimated his talent and underestimated the amount of time it would take him to even be a passable NFL quarterback.
It takes a while.
Even though Wilson is only in his 8th year, they seem pretty well convinced that Hilger is the quarterback of the future. Allen will keep it on the ground. Chargers defense it very, very well. He only gets out to the 19-yard line. And Mike Charles, number 71, was in on the stop. Charles was left for dead in Miami and Tampa Bay.
He was literally cut from the team, Mike Charles was, as we take a look at an ISO on Chip Banks on this play, too. Charles, though, did make the play, the nose tackle, cut after failing the endurance run, literally day 1 for the Dolphins. Shula says, get your stuff and get out of here.
Hey,
He's found a home down here.
If the target had been a refrigerator, he'd have made it. 3rd and 7 Raiders. Wilson threw for Christensen, never saw.
Where was that football?
That was a duck. There's no question about that. Looks like it slipped off his hand. I like Mark Wilson as a quarterback, but big games, once again, as I said at the start of the telecast, big games are tough games for Mark. I'd really like to see him turn it around here. And pressure has a lot to do with this. He had to throw it a little higher than he wanted to.
Billy Ray Smith was coming after him. Wilson has thrown for only 54 yards in this half. And there's 2:42 left. Talley is on to punt. Lionel James deep to receive again. Off the side of his foot. And out of bounds. At the Charger 42-yard line after a 22-yard shank. And the Chargers are in business again. There is a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. It's against the Raiders, and you can forget that penalty. The Chargers are out of the issue. They do like Talley. They think he's been a very good kicker and will be for a long time.
USFL.
Leading kicker.
From the 42, Holohan in motion. Spencer. Nice hole up the middle down to the 35. I think the Chargers would just love to get a field goal out of this, already leading 16-0. Nice blocks by Masick and Dennis McKnight, the right guard.
Chargers are sitting pretty. Now they know they can just drive, and that's what they're doing. They're just, Masick gets a great piece of someone. Number 60 McKnight gets a great piece of Millen, and he got about a good 8-9 yard gain there.
Nice cross block up front. We're approaching the 2-minute warning.
That's 7.
Adams trying to get to the first down, sticks it for 32. He's very close to it. Howie Long makes the tackle again, and we have been given the 2-minute warning here in San Diego. Timeout. It's the Chargers, 16. The Raiders, a long time for a game like this where they're dominating the Chargers. They're not that loud. I mean, the Raiders. Yeah. They seem to be stunned by the fact they really haven't been that loud in this game.
Yeah. They really are, but it's unbelievable the way they are dominating, too.
Yes, as a former Raider, I don't like it a whole lot, but it is very nice for the people of San Diego. But this is also the first collective group of folks that initiated the cheer.
There's Brian Holloway.
Amazing.
Brian Holloway, offensive tackle, much maligned in the New England area, I might add. Ray Berry apparently told a number of people that he didn't think he could play anymore. It had nothing to do with the fact he was a player rep for the Patriots. He just didn't have it left in him. He's now a member of the offensive line for the Raiders.
He's got to want to play.
1st and 10, San Diego. Winslow in motion. Adams. Nice move to the 25. McElroy in on another tackle along with Haynes. Chargers don't seem to be in any hurry right now. They just like to make this drive eat up all of the clock so the Raiders don't get it back.
That's exactly correct. They want to eat up the clock. They want to eat up some yardage, get down there, and they'd like to get 7 points, put the Raiders out of reach.
I'm real impressed with Curtis Adams tonight.
3 of the 4 tight ends are in there. Bernstein joins Holohan and Winslow. Adams again. Cut it back this time. First down to the 19-yard line. And the Chargers are just taking it to the Raiders.
You know, I was talking before about Curtis Adams. The fact is, scouts have told me, here's a guy, takes big knocks, can't block, not a good receiver, motivational problem, but he's got great running ability, especially in an I-back position. He might be the slasher the Chargers are looking for. He hurts them, though, with his limitations.
They haven't had a running back they could count on since Chuck Muncie. There is Anderson getting down to the 16-yard line.
It was Curtis Adams, though, who led to the exile of Ernest Jackson to Pittsburgh. They believe in Curtis Adams.
Their coach got a
knee
knee injury.
South Carolina almost beat Nebraska because they're able to throw the ball that well. I don't think that Oklahoma can throw it that well. 2nd and 7. Fouts hung in there, loops it. Flag is down. Incomplete pass. They were throwing for Holohan. Coverage by Ron Fellows.
Penalty flag on the play.
And it looks like it'll go against
We have
the Chargers.
offensive pass interference, number 88.
And it is Holohan.
That's a real bad spot for having offensive interference right down at the goal line. And Pete's a real clutch player. I'm sure he really feels bad about that.
The way they're playing, though, they can afford to make a few mistakes right now. The Raiders cannot.
Well, they can and they can't. The Raiders are 3 scores away from being ahead in this game. This is a very important drive for the Chargers because the Raiders can come back and hurt you.
Well, you'd have to think that flag came on something that we didn't see before we picked up the replay because it sure wasn't there. 2nd and 17 now for the Chargers. Still well within field goal range. 4-man rush. Fouts with a lot of time, and Winslow couldn't hold it. Being covered out there by Lyndon King, and you won't see Winslow touch him very often and not hold him.
And being covered very aggressively by Lyndon King. Lyndon is an aggressive, outstanding football player, and playing against your own teammates, someone who knows, because I played against a few of my former teammates, having played with Houston, Kansas City, and even Washington, every time I played against one of my former teammates, it was an extra special game for me. I wanted to show them that they made a mistake, and Lyndon King is doing exactly that.
3rd and 17. Comes the blitz. They'll go with the delay to James. Flag is down. James still on his feet. 20. Down to the 15-yard line, brought down by Turan, but the penalty is a hold against San Diego. And now penalties really hurting the Chargers.
Yeah. Al's not happy about that. I don't think we mentioned before, though, about Lionel James, that he was a blocking back for Bo Jackson. Can you believe that at Auburn?
I can believe that he can hit you very low.
5'6", a blocking back, 172 pounds.
Size really doesn't make the man, especially in a situation like Lionel James. There's his old teammate.
They were roommates, Lionel and Bo.
Offensive holding was the call, and it forces the Chargers back just outside their own 35. Was 2nd and 7 at the 15-yard line. San Diego now almost catching up with the Raiders, who have been devastated by penalties. Foul, fumble the snap. Look at all the time he's got, even after the miscue, and he throws to Anderson, who couldn't hold it. Haynes on the coverage, but Fouts got it to Anderson.
That's a mark of a veteran quarterback. He could have just fallen on the ball like a lot of quarterbacks would, not to mention any names, but instead he fumbled around, picked that thing up, and still tried to make something happen. Just about did, too. It takes a lot of courage to stand in there.
Plenty of time, though. Where's the pass rush, Deuce?
Well, all the guys lost the ball. They didn't know where it was. They didn't see the quarterback dropping back. They didn't know what was going on. It holds everything up.
Abbott will try from 53, and Fouts put the ball right in Anderson's hands. The way it's gone for Abbott, he'll make it.
He's pretty hot. Nice snap. Short.
And about 3 yards short. Abbott gave it his best shot with 27 seconds left, and that's about the only thing that's gone the Raiders' way in the first half. Hope you'll stay with us at halftime. Chris Berman, he'll recap week 9 of the NFL and Penn.
Give it to Bo.
Wilson with a lot of time, dumps it off. The ball was tipped and Allen couldn't hold it. They just look disorganized on offense right now.
Mark Wilson, not to belabor this issue about Mark Wilson because he's been much maligned, but Bill King, the Raider announcer, told me that when he gets hit or when he gets pressure, he looks like the most surprised guy in the stadium. He just doesn't like it. He wants no part of the heat. And so he'll get rid of that ball quickly. He won't stay in there.
Wilson only 5 out of 11 for 54 yards in the first half. And San Diego up 16-0. Wilson plenty of time this time and rifles it complete to Lofton. Lofton to the San Diego 45-yard line. Did not get out of bounds, and they'll have to use a timeout to stop it with 11 seconds to go.
Can you believe Lofton only came away with his first touchdown reception last week? Now, sure, there were replacement games, but the fact is to only have one interception and be a receiver the caliber of a James Lofton at this point of the season, it's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling.
One reception for a touchdown, but he is a good one. He's had a lot of problems with the different quarterbacks. He's had Hilger. Who's going to throw to me this week? Hilger, Wilson, Vince Evans. Who's going to throw to me?
Good point.
And he's got to settle down. They've got to give him somebody that's standard in there.
Another point that Flores made to us Tuesday the other night was the fact that in defense you can shift a player in, take a player out, but on offense it's all precision oriented. So if you make changes on your offensive unit, it's going to affect all the other players in your offensive unit, and maybe Lofton's feeling part of that.
He has to be, plus the protection, the fact that you haven't had the same offensive line in there 2 weeks in a row. I mean, that's just unbelievable. In the past with Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Dave Dalby, Mickey Marvin, Henry Lawrence, these guys had 5, 10 years together, 15. Now 2 weeks, there's just no time for any continuity, and you've got to develop continuity if you're going to win football games.
Only 5 players in the history of this league have ever caught 10,000 yards worth of passes. James Lofton is 10 yards shy of joining that club. 11 seconds left. Intercepted. Picked off by Billy Ray Smith, his second interception. There is a flag down. The clock shows no time, but Billy Ray Smith turning in a great job in the first half.
They can't end the half on a penalty, and this is a penalty, it looks like, against the defense. Looks like we got pass interference.
On the defense.
Free play for the Raiders.
They're calling up on Elvis Patterson, the left corner.
The Raiders are not shy. Remember I mentioned before when you asked, what are they going to do? There's 46 seconds left, and I said, Bo. Just subconsciously, they immediately went to the air. The Raiders are hungry, and they don't care. They're going all out. They have to win this football game.
Right now, they will have a chance to kick a field goal with no time left on the clock.
Contact.
About a 55 yardage based on where it's spotted. 50?
Well, let's see when they finally get ready to spot it.
If they spot it that far back, there's going to be no chance at a field goal. They're going to have to go for another play.
It would be approximately 56 yards. Chris Barr with a long of 40 this year.
Wow.
And it's time has probably passed for Chris to be kicking 56 yarders off of grass.
You have nothing to lose, of course, but 56, even trying for it is desperation.
Well, Raiders have called time to talk it over.
Well, the problem is they thought that there was going to be a penalty of some yardage, and they thought they were going to get 10 more yards forward on the ball there. Instead, there was no yardage penalty. It was from the point of infraction, so they didn't gain any yardage, so they're going to have to use a play instead.
I'd take the play, sure.
Yeah, you have to. Miami, ESPN says hi to you, buddy.
Guy you played a lot of years with.
Well, if the guy stays around a few more years, I'd like to see him inducted in the Hall of Fame because he deserves it. He'll be there.
Mad Stork. Is he 83? Was that?
Yeah, 83.
Yeah.
And Barr on the sideline, and the Raiders will send back the offense with no time on the clock. San Diego dropping people back to the 15-yard line in their prevent defense. They'll just play center field back there and hope Wilson can't hit the bomb.
He might with Lofton or Fernandez.
Except for a penalty, this will be the last play of the half. And it's knocked down in the end zone. Trying to throw for Lofton. Bensy Glenn was back there, along with Danny Walters.
Vast differences between the game of baseball and the game of football.
We have Vance Mueller, 42 and 85. Dokie Williams deep to receive. And it's critical that the Raiders get something going on offense as we start the third quarter. Mueller at the 5. And once again, Bernstein down on special teams is in on the tackle, along with Daniel Hunter, a reserve cornerback.
These special teams set the pace for the start of the whole second half, and that's very important. Here we got our halftime statistics, Roy.
Yeah, you take a look at the disparity there. Probably most in the passing yardage for the Chargers.
And also an area the Chargers never used to excel in, time of possession. And the penalties have been such a big difference for the Raiders, as well as they've had the only two turnovers of the ball game. Wilson opens the second half at quarterback after an ineffective first 2 quarters. Allen trying to get outside. Mike Charles, the nose tackle, came across and made the stop. And we'll take a look at what the Raiders did in the first half when they had the football, and honestly, it wasn't much. An interception on their first possession that led to a touchdown. Then they missed a field goal, their only scoring opportunity of the half. 3 plays and a punt. 1 play and Mark Wilson's second interception. Then another punt. And things just did not go well for the Raiders in the first half. They got close to field goal territory at halftime, but it was too long for Chris Barr to try. 2nd and 10. Pocket collapsing around Wilson, throwing for Williams. What a catch at the 45. There is a flag down.
Again,
Dokie Williams was blasted by Martin Bayless.
What concentration by Dokie Williams out of UCLA. I think we got a defensive pass interference because it was thrown so far downfield. We'll see here.
Holding, number 34, defense. Decline.
Patterson.
First down.
Toaster.
This was one terrific catch. And the irony of I guess here is that Dokie Williams wanted to be traded to the San Diego Chargers about 3 weeks ago. Look at the throw, too. Right on the money. Beautiful catch. And big pressure, too, from Patterson.
Best throw Wilson's had the entire ball game. Allen on the toss.
Oh, no.
Another flag is down, and again, this is going to be a hold on fullback Steve Smith, who was leading the play, and for the second time in the ball game, he just grabbed the linebacker and held it. And it was Chip Banks.
Those are bad practice habits. You know, those something that you pick up. You practice like you play. I always made it a point to practice very hard, but also, like I said,
Holding, number 35, offense, still first down.
you don't practice
hold, you
hard.
need to do a little better than this.
Yeah, you sure do. You gotta have a little more technique involved here.
Oh, yeah.
He's just very anxious to get the job done for Marcus. You can't blame him there. He gets an A for effort, but he gets
You can,
0 for
wait a minute.
results.
No, you can blame him there. Of course you can. He held.
Not when a guy plays that hard and is giving his best. You just can't get down on him too much.
1st and 20 for the Raiders. I'm sure Mark Wilson isn't real thrilled with him right now. Dump it off to Allen on the screen.
Get out.
Allen gets out to about the 43-yard line. The Raiders are converged on again, and Mike Charles, who's had a big defensive game, chased the play down.
He sure did, but the reason he chased it down is because Maraldi got in front of him, and Maraldi just couldn't get moving. And you've got to get on track if you want to spring up back like a Marcus Allen.
Mike Charles has become a vocal leader of the San Diego Chargers of late, too. In addition to coming in late, he has turned this football team around defensively.
Gain of 8 on the last play at 2nd and 12. Bo. They're waiting for him to break one, but Gil Bird came up and got him at the 45 for a 2-yard gain that time.
On this replay, I'd like to show you the blocking by Marcus Allen as well. Marcus blocks 2 men on this play. He blocks one guy. You don't see him. First guy, then he gets off and he gets another guy. Now this is what I call being unselfish and paying the price. You know, they don't care who gets the job done with the Raiders as long as someone gets it done. So far, no one has.
3rd down, 8 yards to go. Chargers come on the blitz. Flag is down, so is Wilson. Pass incomplete. He just threw it away. Another flag is down, and they'll get him for intentional grounding on that. That will be lost and down.
And they should. Lee Williams, the guy given the rush. Maybe the biggest, brightest spot on the defensive line for the Chargers. We'll wait for the call.
We have offensive holding and intentional grounding on the offense.
Boy, a litany of penalties.
Well, you got Big Lee is playing against John Clay, a rookie out of the University of Missouri. The problem with being a rookie in the offensive line is, like Tom Flory said last night, it's such a precise position.
Lee Williams, a USFL castoff. Tom Bass, the former defensive coordinator for the Chargers, telling me he may be the most underrated defensive lineman in the American Football Conference.
15 of the 21 players on the defensive roster for the Chargers were waived or traded. He's waiting at his own 23, and it's been a busy night for Stan Talley. High snap. Pretty kick this time. Floats it for James. 15-yard line. And took a shot as he stopped shy of the 20-yard line. 48-yard punt, only a 4-yard return. Timeout third quarter, still 16-0 Chargers. 31 to go third quarter. The Chargers, riding the crest of a 7-game win streak, are shutting out the Raiders 16-0. Adams back in there, and they'll try to keep it on the ground with him. He's had a fine ball game so far, out to the 22-yard line.
Curtis Adams, the ball carrier.
Chargers in the first half took advantage of turnovers after their first drive, which was only 4 plays and a punt. After an interception, they drove 7 plays for a touchdown. Next time they had to punt the ball after only 3. Got 1 of 2 Vince Abbott field goals on the next drive, followed by the second, and Abbott was just about perfect. Hit his 3rd after an 11-play drive, and then finally missed from long range, and it's 16-0. 2nd and 7. Blitz coming against Fouts, throws the whole hand complete. Turan tosses him out of bounds.
Pass complete to number 88.
Jim Plunkett at age 40. Why not Plunk? You know, he may be 40, but he's done it before, especially now the Raiders are desperate for leadership in the huddle, twos.
I just don't think that they'll bring Jim back unless you get an injury to Mark Wilson. Jim is one of the great ones, and he's had many miracles, but he's like you said, he's 40 years old, and you've got to give him a break.
Talked to one of the Raider executives during a break at halftime, and he said it's just obvious to him that Mark Wilson can't get the job done, can't move the ball club. The only other active quarterback, of course, is Rusty Hilger, and they benched him a week ago. Turan makes a nice tackle shy of the first down as Fouts threw underneath the coverage to James, and it'll be 4th and 1.
I'd like to add this, though, that you can never count Jim Plunkett out. When he came into our team in '79 to the Raiders, he was awful. He was shell-shocked for years with New England and San Francisco. In fact, when we would rush him, he'd just throw the ball away carelessly. And then he took us to a world championship, took the Raiders to a world championship in 1980. He really came around. So this man is full of miracles.
Mosienko on to punt, averaging better than his AFC leading average of 44. And will kick to Chris Woods, standing at the 22. Beautiful. Woods back to the 17, fumble the ball. And got it back. 53-yard kick by Mosienko, and Elvis Patterson was down there to give him a shot.
Elvis Patterson in on this play. After being cut from the Giants, Elvis found his Graceland in San Diego, folks.
Toast is becoming the breakfast of champions, isn't it? A la Pete Axthelm. Timeout, third quarter, 16-0.
Charmin have begun on their own 20 or shorter, or inside their 20. That's great play by the Chargers.
Has to be frustrating for the defense. They played a pretty good ball game. Their offense has produced absolutely nothing for them. Delay, Bo Jackson. Got it across the 25 to about the 26-yard line, and Jeffrey Jackson, one of the replacement players that stuck, made the stop.
Bo Jackson, you see a little bit better what we're talking about. We say he's as strong as a fullback, as quick as a track star, explosive, and a punisher. He's the whole package. Howie Long told me at that guy's size, 235, and his speed, it is like getting hit by a truck when you try and tackle him.
That's a load.
When he accelerates, it's got to be scary. Wilson on 2nd and 1. Plenty of time, now has to throw to Williams, sideline. Nice move by Doki. Williams got away from Billy Ray Smith and picked up another 3 or 4 yards.
Couple of scoots, couple of jukes. This is a nice little bit of running right here. You know, it picked up maybe 3 or 4 extra yards. Not big yardage, but it just shows you fighting for the extra yardage. And a couple of real nice moves. There's Patterson. Now watch Billy Ray coming up. A little shift this way, a little shift that way. This is good for 3 or 4 more.
Now you can see why he is complaining he'd like to play in San Diego, because he is a starter.
Allen and Patterson up from the corner makes the stop for a yard gain.
I'm really impressed by Elvis Patterson. He has come to play tonight. He's a guy that's given a second chance, a new lease on life, similar to some people that I knew in the past.
The reason he was cut from the Giants, some say, was after Willie Gault beat him in the Bears game. He kind of pulled up slowly on a play that didn't necessarily decide a touchdown. And Bill Parcells apparently didn't like that and cut him the next day.
San Diego's very happy to have him. Here comes the blitz on 2nd and 8. Wilson unloads for Lofton, incomplete. And they got to Wilson, made him throw it before he wanted to. Lee Williams putting the pressure on him along with Billy Ray Smith on the blitz.
We talk about Bo Jackson. Can he block for Marcus Allen? Take a look at this block right here, Twos.
He steps up and he takes a man on right here. Billy Ray, and Billy Ray is a low to begin with. Billy Ray comes. He took him the only way you can take someone that size is low. But they're getting to Mark Wilson. They're putting the pressure on him, and that's frustrating for a guy like Mark. And that's why they're down 16-0.
3rd and 8 from the 41. 4 down linemen for the Chargers in their pass rush setup. Knocked away by Patterson, intended for Lofton. It'll be 4th down.
Thrown behind Lofton, I think. Twos, you agree?
Well, it's hard to see where it was thrown, but it was still a great play by Mr. Elvis Patterson.
The pocket was collapsing around.
And this is my last shot. I'm going to make it a good one. That's what John Matuzak did.
Stan Talley to punt to James. Another pretty kick. James driven back inside the 10.
Great coverage.
Only got it back out to the 11-yard line. A 3-yard gain after a 50-yard punt by Talley. Steve Strahan on Raiders special teams made the stop at their own 15-yard line and have not been able to go the length of the field. And the Chargers have taken advantage of a couple of turnovers to score 10 of 16. Outside line to Anderson, stays in bounds and gets to the 35-yard line. Gary Anderson made the tackle or made the catch in front of Jerry Robinson for 23 yards.
Let's see Gary Anderson right here. Interesting to note that he had only one play over 60 yards all last year, and it was the last game of the season. That was the longest play, 65 yards. It's interesting also to note this has not been a very explosive team offensively. Longest rush from scrimmage, only 25 yards.
Anderson, as a running back, will dive forward after almost being stopped in the backfield. Down to the 38. One thing the Chargers have done very well is keep linebackers isolated on their receiver.
Rid of him too soon, because that caused the man to cut back inside.
2nd and 7. Bounce over the middle, overthrew one receiver, underthrew another. Too high for Winslow, too short for James.
Yeah, it's hard to tell where he was going. Watch the hit for Van McElroy.
Millen got there just a touch late on the last play. Bounce downfield, incomplete at the 30-yard line, and Ames with good coverage on Anderson.
But Gary Anderson really scares me. He reminds me of a lot of Fred Biletnikoff with speed. Now that is a dangerous combination.
Majority of the USFL guys said that Gary Anderson was the best player in that league.
4th and 7, and Moshenko comes on to punt. Woods is again deep to receive, standing at about his own 15. And if they don't get a poor kick or a good return, it's miserable field position again for the Chargers. Not a good kick this time by Moshenko. There is a flag down. And it will go out of bounds at the 20-yard line. And we'll check the flag for it. 42-yard kick with the roll for Rolf Moshenko. And the preliminary signal is against the Raiders. We'll check it out for you with Pat Hager.
Holding.
And it is against the Raiders.
Twos, are there too many penalties called in the game of football? They over-regulating the game?
Well, I think they're trying to keep a violent game under control. And the only way to do that is to have rules and regulations.
Punt by Moshenko, went 41 yards. 43, post possession, 1st down.
Sammy Seal, by the way. There it is.
The flag has already been thrown here, so you can't see what's happened, but Mr. Sammy Seal is working very hard keeping Patterson, Mr. Elvis Patterson, out of the game. And Elvis has been all over the place tonight.
The Raiders starting where they almost expect to start anymore, from their own 11-yard line. Allen and Jackson in the same backfield. Jackson. Patterson missed him, and he picks up 7 yards on a play that it looked like he would have been stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Bo talking a lot about his hobby. Remember, he got into hot water. Here are America's favorite hobbies. Our crack research staff, folks, came up. Reading, the #1 favorite American hobby. Can you believe it? It's true. Exercise is #2. Way down on the list. Pro football. Incidentally, Bo's favorite sport is not football or baseball. It's track #1, football #2, baseball #3, he said.
So shopping was 8.7%, a little higher around my house. Allen gets up to the 22-yard line.
Right.
Mike Charles in on the play again.
Another good block, yeah. Here it is. Twos, look at this block.
Time it's Bo's turn to block for Marcus. I like this when people take turns and take pride in doing an all-round football game. That was a great block by him, springing Marcus for the first down.
Would you trade Marcus Allen next year for a quarterback?
I just like to keep Marcus as long as I could. I really like him, but the Raiders need a quarterback, unquestionably.
Would you trade him? Would you trade him?
I like him. I like to keep him.
1st and 10 Raiders. Wilson dumps it to Jackson. Gilbert out there with him, and Bird wouldn't let him get away, brought him down to 24.
He's so strong. I mean, on games where maybe 1 or 2 yards, and that would be it, he's getting 3, 4, and 5. He hasn't really exploded yet, but you can see he carries a defender a yard, 2 yards. Watch this.
At the same time, Gilbert does a tremendous job. Open field against a man like this. Gilbert doesn't buy or bite on any of these fakes. Keeps his head up because your body goes where your head goes.
He's always moving forward, though. Bo
He's
Jackson.
very impressive. I love Bo Jackson.
2nd and 9. Wilson with a lot better protection, throws incomplete. What a play there by Chip Banks. Over the top of Christensen to knock it away.
We were talking before of Chip Banks. Billy Ray Smith had a great quote about Chip Banks. He said, hey, we acquired Chip Banks. It was sort of like Paul McCartney going to the Sex Pistols. I mean, it's instant credibility, folks. That's what he said of Chip Banks.
What an analogy. Paul McCartney to the Sex Pistols.
Here it is. Nice
Whoa.
coverage here, number 56.
It's now 3rd and 9. The Raiders really need to get something started. We've got 5:15 to go in the 3rd quarter. They're down by 16. Blitz. And Wilson is down at the 20-yard line. They sent everybody. Billy Ray Smith came from the outside. The pocket collapsed. Wilson tried to go up the middle, and the Raiders just can't get it going.
Crowd is loving this. As a former Raider, I must admit it is hard to take, but I have to hand it to San Diego Chargers. They came to play football tonight.
Well, they're 7-1. Nobody outside of San Diego believes, but if this keeps up, they'll be 8-1 with an 8-game win streak. And somebody better start believing before they're 13-1.
15-1.
They got to get to 13 first.
I sure do.
James had a seam almost broken, got back over the 40, a 12-yard return after a 50-yard stand tally punt. We have a timeout. 4:43 to go in the quarter, still 16-0.
And he left just now to go to the locker room, some kind of injury. Here's the play. We'll see what happened. Chip Banks on the coverage. He had an injured heel, but it's hard to see if it's the heel or if it's his hand, his wrist, something. He didn't really favor his leg, so it might have been something in his wrist area.
His back.
We'll speculate. We'll find out. We don't want to speculate.
Okay.
And here's the San Diego option, and James, who has the option of tossing it to Anderson, kept. And you know, if San Diego runs an option, Dan Fouts is not going to be involved in it. Lionel Washington made the stop.
Well, Dan Fouts runs about a 5.5 40, but that's not why they pay him all that money. Very tough thing.
We'll check it. We'll find out.
2nd and 10. Anderson goes to the top of the screen as a wide receiver. And Fouts throws that way through behind him in midfield. Turan was coming up on the coverage. It's not been the greatest of games for Dan.
There's no one on the sidelines. There's no Jim Plunkett to call and suddenly put on a uniform. What are they going to do? Call Rusty Hilger? I don't think so. They got to stick with what they got.
Todd Christensen being x-rayed. His index finger is what we're told. Being x-rayed right now.
Looked like his hand.
Thank goodness.
3rd and 10. Adams shook one tackle. Gets up to the 46-yard line. Right now, it looks like the Chargers very happy to play field possession, or field position and possession football.
Even on defense, it looks as though the Raiders are in kind of an identity crisis. They don't know motivation. They don't seem to have that same fire. There seems to be something lacking, and they have the talent on this football field.
What's lacking is an offense.
Well, they have the talent, though, Tooze.
Well, you got to pay an offensive line. You've got to have an offensive line, and they don't have that. That's the heart and soul of the team.
Kicking to Woods at the 15, took it on the run. Comes up the sideline and cut down as he reached the 30-yard line. And it was Timmy Ware, the reserve wide receiver, down to cut him down after a 14-yard gain. I think so. They've been on a roll this year. 3:17 to go third quarter. Raiders have it at their own 29. Hey, this is great field position for them tonight. Mark Wilson making his first start of the year. It has not gone well. Jackson. And the Chargers swarm. Stop him for 2. A flag is down.
Just saw Wilson show a big sign of disgust there, and you can't be doing that. I know he's upset. But you got to, in order to get your team going, you've got to be the leader out there. The Raiders have always had some great leaders at quarterback. We got a little spoiled. The Raiders did.
Yeah, the Chargers have some real outstanding characters on this team. We'll wait for the call here.
51 offense.
In the secondary, the Chargers have a guy named Vency Glenn. He's number 25. Let me tell you how intense this guy is, number 25. He shaved his scalp to the shape of his number, 25, into his scalp. That's hardcore.
Call was on Bill Lewis, the left guard, for holding. And Mark Wilson just threw it right at the feet of Marcus Allen and grabs his helmet in total disgust with himself. That was about a 4-yard throw, and he threw it 3.
You've got to be able to shake off mistakes like that if you're going to be a great quarterback. I think Mark has all the tools of a good quarterback. That's why the Raiders stuck with him this long. I'd just like to see him come out of the shell so he can give us a good game tonight, make it interesting.
No us now, Tooze.
Well, by us, I mean the fans.
Oh, I see.
Wilson now 2nd and 20. Far sideline to Lofton, complete, driven out of bounds there by Danny Walters.
Now look at that throw. That throw was right on the money, and that was about going cross play about 40 yards. We're going to show it from the end zone for you, folks.
17-yard gain.
But look at the arm that he had to put on there. This tight spiral on that baby. That thing had to be on the money. So just like I said, he's got the ability. He's got to just start believing in himself. And I know he can do it.
Well, it is obviously his at this point after taking over from Rusty Hilger.
Let's see if he gets hot.
3rd and 3. Jackson got him hemmed in at the sideline and knocked him out of bounds. Bayless, the first man that hit him, and then Gilbert ran him out at the sideline.
That's some great defense there by the San Diego. And that's not easy to do on a Bo Jackson. Now
4th and a yard. Tally back in to punt again.
Let's see, Michael, how he punts this time. His last one was 50 yards, and the one before that was about 20. See how consistent he is.
Bad snap. Got it back, though. Hits a line drive this time, just getting it out of there. James dodges one tackler. He's got some room out here. And another punt return where he was a step away from breaking it. Gets 5 yards after a 34-yard kick. Vance Mueller made the tackle.
Well, the reason also for this great return is not only the missed tackles that you're going to see here, but the fact that it's a line drive kick. Very few guys had a chance to get down there in time. Gives Lionel a chance to get on track.
A lot of guts doing this, too. A lot of guts doing this in traffic.
Very much so, Roy. He is really a tough character.
1:54 to go third quarter. San Diego continues to lead at 16-0. Chargers have the ball back. Adams. He's had a good night running the football. Gets it up to the 36-yard line. I think the Chargers have learned how to win, being 7-1. The replacement team, and there's the defense that has shut out the Raiders so far. They've got to be very proud of themselves, the way they have put it together. Billy Ray Smith, I think, probably put it best when he said they just have the chemistry. Sometimes you get it, you throw 20 guys together, and it's there. He doesn't know why, but it is there. Fouts against the blitz, gets it to Winslow. Flag is down. Winslow at the 47-yard line.
Jerry Robinson on the coverage there.
Robinson and Winslow were tied up. We'll see who gets the call.
Could be offensive, but I doubt it.
Holding, defensive, number 57.
That's who it was, Jerry Robinson. You'll see it, and it's at the start of the play for 57, Jerry Robinson. Right here, he's holding. Look at that. That's grabbing the shirt there, Twos.
Oh, nobody's holding Howie Long right there in the same picture, though, is he? I mean, it goes both ways. You could call a penalty probably on every play in this game because there's 11 individual battles going on. And for women out there, if you want to enjoy this game, pick one person out and watch them.
John, they have called a penalty on every play tonight.
They have.
1:01 to go, third quarter. First down, Chargers. Tim Spencer across midfield. Another flag, as I told you, every point.
Number 60, holding.
San Diego's had a lot of penalties tonight. The Raiders have had twice as many as that. It's 1st and 20 now. Another blitz. Fouts unloads for Anderson. Almost caught it. Lionel Washington thought he had great position rather, and he just run out the play. Anderson went for the ball and almost got it.
Anderson, a remarkable athlete. You're going to see here on the screen here, he's going down. He makes something out of nothing, just about. Like I said, a Blinknikov with speed.
If he can't catch it, it's probably not catchable, although there, maybe he should have had
That
it.
would have been the catch of the decade.
Led all AFC running backs with catches last year, 80 catches. The only Pro Bowl player on this team, team's MVP.
Washington nearly got burned on that one. 2nd and 20. And the Chargers offensive line has done a great job protecting Fouts. Little delay to keep it up on the ground after about the 38. Matt Millen made the tackle along with Sean Jones and Rod Martin.
Happy with the success that they're having now.
Through 3 quarters, they should be standing and cheering for these Chargers. They lead the Raiders 16-0.
Well, that in just a few moments. He's got other interests outside of football.
3rd and 17 as we start the 4th quarter. Fouts. And he's down. Dan is not about to get back up, and Howie Long had a big hand on him for the 2nd sack of the ballgame.
We're talking about Winslow, number 80. He's got a play out. It's called Struggle. It's about the plight of the black man in America. Very serious writer. He wants to be an actor, too, and as well as an attorney. I talk about struggle. I say, hey, Kellen, you know, you're making $700,000. What do you know about struggle? He said, struggle is not merely an issue of money. Very, very thoughtful man.
And a very nice person, too.
Chris Woods is back to receive the punt. I keep waiting for the Raiders to come with a block to try to get something started. Good protection. And Mojenko, not a good kick this time. And Woods takes it out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Only a 30-yard kick off the side of the foot of Rolf Mojenko.
Vince Glenn. Now there's the guy we were talking about, number 25. This guy is hardcore. He's wearing his helmet now, but he burned in his number, folks, to show everyone how much he loves playing for the Chargers. 2-5 in the back. What is that, a stencil, Twos? How do you do that? Did you ever pull anything like that?
No, that's directly out of University of Venus.
2-5, Vince Glenn.
The crowd trying to give the Charger defense a little boost here. This is the best start the Raiders have had all night. Wilson deep, and Lofton was bumped by Walters, and the pass falls harmlessly on the grass here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
He was bumped while the ball was in the air. Still no call.
Looked like they might have gotten away with one on that. Of course, the Raiders like to throw deep, and don't they have the people that can go get it with Lofton and Fernandez, Doki Williams, Hester?
They've got the limousine lineup. They just don't have the chauffeur.
Or the wheels.
2nd and 10.
The wheels being the offensive line.
Good point.
They'll go with Allen. And Allen hit by Les Miller, another one of the replacement players who made the stop. Miller was putting handles on coolers in a cot factory before the strike came up. And here's what they've done to Mark Wilson. And the 4 knockdowns may be, along with the 15 hurries, the biggest things in there.
That's pretty tough to get that many knockdowns against the quarterback, 6'5". That means there's extreme pressure coming in Mark Wilson's face on almost every passing down.
Four-man line in there for the Chargers. The Raiders only 1 of 10 third-down conversions tonight. Wilson throws for Williams, and they rule it incomplete. Couldn't hold it in San Diego territory at the 48. Danny Walters on the coverage. And Wilson has to pick himself up again.
Doki just dropped this ball. Watch the coverage right here.
Now, this is also a very bad place to drop it. Since he wants to be traded to San Diego, he shouldn't drop it in front of the San Diego bench.
No, he should have had that.
Right
That's
there.
not Mark Wilson's fault, that's for sure. Look at the reaction here from Wilson. Ah, come on.
Sometimes things, when they go wrong, everything goes wrong. I really like to see the Raiders turn around. It's very frustrating for Raider fans, but at the same time, it's got to be great for Charger fans.
It's got to be especially tough on a guy like Wilson who takes a beating, or the offensive line who's getting pounded on every play, and watch a wide receiver drop a football. Talley, a booming kick that they'll let go this time.
Beautiful.
And out of bounds inside the 5. Beautiful 55-yard coffin corner kick by Stan Talley. 13:32 in the game. It's still 16-0. San Diego takes over at its own 2. Adams across the 5. McElroy came up to finish him at that point after Bill Pickel had slowed him down.
Oh, what's impressive? What's impressive is the fact that the Raider defense is not letting up. They've got a lot of pride, and they're showing it.
Defense has played well. It has been the Raider offense that has produced absolutely nothing tonight. And their mistakes have led to Charger points. Adams on the toss. Across the 10. First down out to the 14.
The carpetbagger who lives in Stockton.
Adams again. Jerry Robinson on the tackle.
You wonder with a guy worth $500 million if he'll give Mr. Saunders a little bonus at the end of the year, huh? This is the coach of the year, folks, right now. No
Al
doubt.
Saunders was talking to us the other day and was giving so much credit to his players and his assistants. A lot of the blame goes to the head coach, and a lot of the credit has to go to the head coach. And he is 10-6, working on 11-6 in just his first full year as the Chargers head coach. He's done a whale of a job. 2nd and 5, San Diego. Spencer back in there. And Spencer drives out near first down territory at the 25-yard line.
They're picking on Howie Long a little bit because obviously Kowalski, if Kowalski's still in there, they're hooking him a little bit. And when you get around the outside, the defensive end, it makes him real tough. Here you see him getting hooked, just enough. He's really getting held, but it's enough of a crease for this guy Spencer to break through there. You can't get hooked if you're a defensive end. It's death.
Van McElroy is the Raider player down, and he has had a busy night. Always one of the leading tacklers on the club.
There's Michael Haynes, too, in the midst of that. And that brings up one point. He has really taken a lot of heat, Michael Haynes has this year, for being burned in coverage. Dick Steinberg, among other people, saying Haynes has lost a step and at 34 isn't the player he has been. Fact is, though, last week a bad break, a bad tip caused a touchdown pass. Hasn't really played that poorly, I don't think, Michael Haynes. I don't know if you do, too.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. We'll show the injury right here.
Sure.
Here you got Van coming up really hard, catching him head on right there, and he goes right into the guys.
Yeah,
what he does, he gets the back of his neck gets pushed back, and that helmet goes in the back of his back.
What about Haynes, though? The issue of Michael.
Well, whenever you're losing, people always got a reason to blame. That's one thing that's so nice about winning a world championship is people can't question your ability.
11:31 to go in the fourth quarter.
Dominant against the Chargers, but in recent weeks has not been the Marcus Allen we've seen before, and again tonight has failed to get a 100-yard effort in the last 16 games. He's just not the dominant back he used to be. That's another problem offensively for the Raiders.
Well, he got off to a great start tonight, Roy, but they haven't given him the ball that much. It's been Bo Jackson since then. Adams, good-looking running back. Jerry Robinson and Lyndon King, the first two guys to him.
The Raiders secondary has had only 2 interceptions in the last 5 games. They just aren't picking the ball off.
The booing you heard was because Todd Christensen came back out of the locker room and has rejoined his teammates on the sideline. 2nd and 8. Play action by Fouts. Deep sideline for Anderson. Turan knocks it away. A flag is down. This will be an interesting call.
He says it's offensive. Stacy does.
Certainly didn't look defensive. This will be very interesting to see in isolation.
Defensive pass interference, number 30, first down.
And
Stacy
Turan called for it.
Show me.
Show me. All right. Here it is. Gary Anderson.
One hit. Ball's up. Ball's up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a good call.
Well, I don't know. He's entitled to go for the ball. He's entitled to some of that space. It's a 28-yard penalty, as it turns out. Raiders will keep it on the ground now in Raider territory at about the 42-yard line. Clock ticking away. 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go.
This moment, a very revealing moment, I thought of, Todd.
Blitz coming. Fouts has time and just threw a terrible pass that time. Picked off by Eddie Anderson. Back to the 40. Got a chance. Charger 40. And they'll drag him out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Tim Spencer saved the touchdown. And after a 56-yard interception return, the L.A. Raiders are back in business.
Terrific effort on this return. He ran across field, made this play, and then look, this looks like a kickoff return.
This is a beautiful return. Gets the ball here. He starts cutting against the grain, makes these offensive linemen work really hard for their money. Now he'll cut back again. See, your defensive lineman looking for somebody to block. Everybody's trying to get something to happen. The Raiders have to make something happen. And if they score here with 9:24 left, we might have a football game.
Boy, Spencer made a great effort to make the tackle, and you have to wonder where Dan Fouts was throwing that one. Anderson was the only guy within 20 yards.
Yep.
Well, the crowd woke up.
And Mark Wilson, I think, motioned to the referee that he couldn't hear.
You can't even hear us talking up here. Thing happened. Might have to go on a quick count if they're going to go at all.
Mark Wilson is doing a very smart thing. He's not being intimidated by it. He's standing in the line of scrimmage. He said, I've got all night. They are not running the 30-second clock because of the crowd. It just sits on 30.
Well, I'm amazed that they finally woke up. Their club has been beating the Raiders all night. Here they go.
Record 60,639. They continue to add seats for the upcoming Super Bowl, but they're all full tonight. Bo Jackson got a good block from Allen and got to the 9-yard line.
That will quiet the crowd down fast.
Marcus Allen threw him a great lead block.
He was a great blocker at SC, was Marcus. You don't really see it in this replay. Maybe just the tail end of it right there. Look at this effort, though. Great individual effort for Bo.
He ran 8 yards before anyone even touched him. First and goal, Raiders. Allen got to the 6. And it's Chuck Ian, the nose tackle, who had him around. Doki Williams, touchdown.
That'll do it. You notice how quiet the crowd got all of a sudden?
There is a flag down in the end zone.
I wonder who it's against.
The Raiders ran a little bit of a pick play over there. be interesting to see what the call is.
Contact, number 34. Defense, decline. Score is good.
That's Elvis Patterson. One more time with the replay here, Doki, and you'll see exactly where the penalty took place, I believe. Wilson just rifling it in. You don't really see the play here.
That was on the picture there, Roy.
Yeah, but Doki wide open.
Chris Barr is on for the point after to cut the lead to 9. And so with 8:01 to go in the ball game, it's the Chargers 16. Now the Raiders.
Now they've got a chance. They've been playing strong all the way along, but now you're going to see a little added incentive here because they have a chance.
Gary Anderson waits at his 1-yard line for the kick from Chris Barr. And it's a good one. Anderson at the 4. Got a seam and just tripped up as he got to the 26-yard line.
Could have changed the whole ball game right there.
Jamie Kimmel got a piece of an ankle and tripped him up.
An apartment complex he owns in the Mission area. Mission San Carlos, I believe, so I stand corrected on that.
Spencer, the lone remaining back. And Fouts to throw on first down. Sideline for James, covered very well that time by Lionel Washington.
Good pressure up the middle made a difference right there in the way that pass was thrown. It was a little bit off target for Dan Fouts because of the pressure. That's the secret. Dan Fouts is pressure up the middle. Right here is a pressure in the middle. He felt that, and he had to pull back a little bit on his release.
Fouts 15 out of 31, but he's only hit one of his last 7.
Told you the Raiders are going to be coming now.
He's only got 149 yards. He has 300-plus games 49 times in his career. Adams spun around, got up to about the 30-yard line. Flags are down.
Face mask.
Got to be a face mask. Second down, 3 yards to go. Not an automatic first down. It's the 34. Needs to get to the 40 or the 37 for a first down. Looks like he may be just shy of it. Howie Long in on the stop.
I just can't get over how this organization has changed in the last year and a half. Alex Spanos bringing in Steve Ortmeyer, running a football squad, running the football team from top to bottom, and recruited Steve Ortmeyer, former Raider official here in San Diego.
Anderson, the deep man in the eye behind Spencer. He dives. They pushed him back. There was a flag down. Anderson tried that in the first half and easily got a first down.
Looks like it's against the Raiders.
Offside, lined up defense.
Mistake you can't make.
More important than that, it's a 1st and 10. Boy, Lyndon King was really waiting for him that time. Hey, Roy, how much groceries does Rouse eat each week? I mean, you've had everything else, right?
Twos, what was the most you ever weighed on the field, by the way?
309 pounds.
And he's what, 340?
Yeah, he's 340, but that looks like it's about in a 6'2" package. It's a little bit different, but
that's right.
He's, from what I understand, he's very tough off the line of scrimmage, but pass protection, he doesn't have the feet yet. He's got the weight.
San Diego only has 240 yards in total offense, but they have another 164 yards in penalties. Fouts with a lot of time. Throws for Winslow. Flag is down. Robinson was all over him. He caught it anyway.
Matt Millen better cool down. He's going to get himself a personal foul.
Time becoming a real factor. Anderson. Still on his feet. Gets to the 49-yard line.
Tom Flores. Does he feel any security at this point?
2nd and 8 Chargers. Spencer on the toss. Millen hit him first. Paquel came over to help out. No stop for no gain.
Look at Matt Millen. 55.
That's very fired up. You got to love that in a linebacker. You just have to be able to control the emotions enough not to get a lot of personal fouls.
Matt Millen a little fired up, but the fire might be out.
You're going to see him come all the way from the left side of the screen, all the way to the bottom of your screen, and then stick this guy and hold him up there. He should have wrapped him up. He still stuck him really nice. You got to like that in a player.
3 minutes, 53 seconds to go. The Chargers, I think, could care less whether they get a first down here, although they'd love it. They're just working off another 30 seconds. And Fouts is back to throw. Almost intercepted, intended for Chandler, and Ron Fellows had a touchdown an inch away.
He picks this ball off, Mike and Twos, and we got a 16-14 game with the extra point. Look at this.
Talking about the game of inches again. Makes all the difference in the world. It was a real gamble on Dan Fouts' part.
Actually, though, Chandler had the better chance of catching the ball than Fellows had of intercepting the ball, really, on the replay you saw it.
Well, Fellows did touch it. If the other guy would have caught it from the Chargers, he would have went all the way. That's the problem. He took the gamble to knock it away, and it paid off.
Mosienko to punt to Woods with 3:38 left in the game. Mosienko does a good job of just getting it out of there.
With a big return, they're not going to get one.
And Woods had to signal for a fair catch at the 16-yard line. A 34-yard kick, no return, 3:29.
Game. Mike Humiston, his regular salary as a deputy sheriff was $19,000. He's making about $40,000 for sticking a replacement player with the Chargers. His motivation is his 8-year-old son, Benny, who has muscular dystrophy. He says he wants to give his son something special in life with the extra money. We'll try to talk a little bit more about that as it develops.
Mark Wilson from the 16. Dumps it off to Jackson. Very dangerous in the open field, and once again, Gil Bird combined on the tackle with Vency Glenn to knock him down after a 19-yard gain. No huddle offense, clock running with 3:13 left.
Saw a flash of Bo Jackson there. He really took off up that field.
Wilson under pressure, threw it low, flag goes down late.
Probably a holding against the Raiders, it is.
And Joe Phillips, number 75, came up like he was the man being held.
Try to develop that Humiston story. His son, Benny, has muscular dystrophy, and your sister is afflicted with it even now.
I lost 2 brothers, Christopher and David, to cystic fibrosis, and I tried to play for 3 people, and I also tried to party for 3 people, and that's where I got in trouble. But if you love your family, there's nothing more important. You realize really what life is all about.
Penalty was for holding, so it's 1st and 20. Wilson being chased, unloads down the sideline, and Vency Glenn and Elvis Patterson were the closest players to it. Good pass rush from Lee Williams. 4 left to do it, down by 9 points. Wilson under pressure, screen to Allen. And a great play. Billy Ray Smith cut behind the block and made the tackle and saved what could have been a big game.
Probably the play of the game so far.
Oh, yeah. And he's made the other ones, too.
He certainly has. He's got that first interception. It makes a big difference if you love what you're doing.
Call him the Karate Kid, Billy Ray. Took up karate for balance and strength in the offseason. He's even stronger than he was a year ago.
It really makes a difference in your flexibility, too.
3rd and 20. Raiders running out of chances. Another flag is down. And Wilson has to get out of bounds, chased out of bounds by Chuck Ian. There are 2 flags down.
Out of bounds on the 33-yard line. Penalty flag.
Against the Raiders.
Another hold. Wow.
Well, the Chargers are coming now. They've got all stops out. They're unloading now. They know he's got to throw the ball. This is when it's really fun as a defensive player to get after somebody, especially a nemesis, such as the Oakland L.A. Raiders. To finally get on top of them is a wonderful feeling down here in San Diego.
You're
These
so
people
intense.
are loving it.
Twos, you're so intense. I mean, this whole game is...
I'm sorry. I love the game a great deal, and also, no matter who's playing out there, as long as they're giving it their best shot, it does
Offense
excite me.
decline. 4th down.
They turn down the penalty because it'll bring up a 4th and 20. Obviously, the Raiders have to go for it. Because that was declined, the Raiders have only been penalized 17 times for 181 yards.
Is that all?
That's
Just
all.
17 times.
A couple have been declined.
Wow.
And now the Raiders send in the punting team. And you'll have to explain this to me. 2:06 to go in the game, down by 2 scores. How can you punt?
Maybe they figure they won't make a penalty.
They've got something up their sleeve.
I don't think
It better
so.
be more than their arm.
I guarantee it.
And San Diego is not necessarily buying it. They have 10 players within 10 yards of the ball.
Stantelli's been good on every other punt. Let's see how he is in this one. His last one was good.
Well, they do kick it.
Short.
James, fair catch. Not much of a signal, but enough, and he makes it at the 26-yard line. A 44-yard kick, no return. We've reached the 2-minute mark in the fourth quarter. It's 16-7. Goodyear blimp. Excuse me.
The Blump?
The Blump. That's a large blimp over the stadium here in San Diego. Nick Nicolari, the pilot.
They've got an excellent group up there in the Goodyear blimp. While we got a minute here, I'd like to thank them for the time they gave my sister Karen and my niece Simone riding that thing. That's a beautiful little ride up there. Here we go. Back to the action.
Chargers only concerned about the clock. 2 minutes to go. They're up by 9. They'll keep it on the ground to Adams. Adams up to about the 30. Raiders going to the football.
Why do you think they punted the football? I mean, they only had 2 minutes left. 3 timeouts remaining.
The only thing I can think of is that they're going to use all their 3 timeouts to get a little bit better field position, but still, I'm sorry, does not make any sense to me.
Well, they have not called one yet. We're down to 1:36. They need the ball twice, and only 3 timeouts would give it to you once.
Yep.
Adams has gained 71 yards on 19 carries. Been a big factor in this. Millen has him as he gets out to the 34-yard line. The other factor has been penalties. The Raiders deluged with them, and they've made the only 2 turnovers in the ballgame. Those 2 mistakes, and now they call a timeout with 1:13 left.
Well, in all fairness to Tom Flores, I believe that call could have been made up in the booth, too.
All right, one of the all-time best NFL players, an all-pro 10 times. That's Willie Brown, the cornerback coach. Everybody says he's a skilled, experienced coach who's paid his dues. But because he supposedly hasn't been a head coach on any level, he is consistently passed over. And that is in contrast to a guy standing across from him on the other side of the field, Al Saunders, who had never been a head coach either, but got his chance anyway when Spanos canned Coryell. They say race isn't a factor. It makes you wonder. There are a lot of capable black assistant coaches in the National Football League. People like Johnny Rowland and Tony Dungy and Jimmy Ray and Dennis Green. People that have to have the opportunity to be a head coach someday, somewhere. I think the NFL's record on hiring black head coaches is abysmal.
I think America is waking up to that fact, and that what's right will be done. Right now, I think the only reason that it's been the other way is because Saunders has done a real good job, and Willie Brown, Art Shells, and the Tony Dungy's will get their chance. I hope they do because they deserve it.
Adams has had 20 carries tonight, only 35 for the rest of the season. And here's 21. Trying for the first down stick. He's very close to it at the 37-yard line. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. 1:06 to go, and Tom Flores watching his team go down for the 6th straight time. And, John, I would say it pretty well puts them out of the contention for a playoff game.
It really does. They felt that if they won 6 of the last 7 games, they'd come out with a 9-win season and a possibility to make the playoffs. This will really make it tough to win 6 out of the last 6. It'll be very tough for the Raiders or for any team in this league.
Matt Millen and Dan Fouts exchanging greetings over the spot of the ball. And it's going to be short of a first down.
Yeah, Matt Millen is an expert when it comes to spotting football. Believe me, he does know where the ball should be. It's one thing he's very good at besides being an aggressive, hard-nosed linebacker.
Well, he was right this time. So with 1:06 to go, the Chargers sent in the punt team. And Mozhenko's concern is just to get it off.
Mozhenko, M-O-J-S-I-E-J-E-N-K-O. That name, by the way, scores 800 points in a Scrabble game. You know that.
You get it on a triple word, you're
You better believe it. Mozhenko.
Raiders showing the rush with 10 men at the line of scrimmage.
It's their only chance to block this game. Chargers know it. They will block accordingly.
Got it off in a hurry. And the distance didn't make a difference at all. He just wanted to get the thing out of there without having it stuffed in his face. A 35-yard kick from Mozhenko. 55 seconds left. And the Raiders have the ball. At the Pro Bowl on ESPN, the Travelers Corporation will present the Travelers NFL Man of the Year Award to the player whose on-field performance is complemented by significant community involvement. This year's nominees from the Chargers, Dan Fouts, the quarterback, and from the Los Angeles Raiders, running back Marcus Allen. These are the stand-up guys in the NFL.
Sean Jones does a great job with community up there in Los Angeles as well.
Desperation time for Wilson. Patterson had his hands on it and couldn't hold it. Intended, I suppose, for Lofton.
They're playing 25 yards deep. That makes it awful tough to go that deep. Lofton knew it, and he held up because he knew he was going to get nailed if he would have went for it.
What is the future of the Raiders quarterback situation?
I think at this point you just stay with Wilson the rest of the year and see what you can figure out, because the season's lost as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
I don't think there's any reason in the world to activate Jim Plunkett. For what? What's the point?
Is complemented by significant community involvement. This year's nominees from the Chargers, Dan Fouts, the quarterback, and from the Los Angeles Raiders, running back Marcus Allen. These are the stand-up guys in the NFL.
Sean Jones does a great job with community up there in Los Angeles as well.
Desperation time for Wilson. Patterson had his hands on it and couldn't hold it. Intended, I suppose, for Lofton.
They're playing 25 yards deep. That makes it awful tough to go that deep. Lofton knew it, and he held up because he knew he was going to get nailed if he would have went for it.
What is the future of the Raiders quarterback situation?
I think at this point you just stay with Wilson the rest of the year and see what you can figure out, because the season's lost as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
I don't think there's any reason in the world to activate Jim Plunkett. For what? What's the point?
That's correct. That's probably why he has not been activated.
Over the middle to Christensen, playing with a glove on the injured right hand, made the catch down to the 47-yard line. Bayless on the coverage, along with Gil Bird, a little slow getting up, 24-yard gain.
Notice that cute little trick of dragging his foot across Christensen's face. That's cute.
Wilson's overthrow is this time. Closest man to it, Charles Romes. One thing that's got to upset Tom Flores as much as the lack of offensive performance is all the penalties. You can't make that many mistakes no matter how good you are.
That's correct, and that's why you're going to end up in this kind of position in the AFC Western Division.
And here are the updated standings, including this game. San Diego with a 2-game lead over Seattle. Denver plays on Monday night. So the Chargers with an 8-game win streak and just a tremendous performance this year. The Raiders go down to their 6th straight loss.
Chargers could be in their own Super Bowl. You never know.
And Dan Fouts would just love it. Wilson airs this one out. He's got Lofton. Touchdown. Holy cow.
Saw that one coming.
How do you like this?
You cannot relax.
And how do you let Lofton get behind you when you know they've got to throw the ball deep?
Here it is.
Well, you're going to see one onside kick.
Charlie Romes on the coverage here, just burned by a mile. Where was this earlier in the game?
Well, a mile in this case was about 4 inches.
Great throw by Mark Wilson.
Really was.
And with 16 seconds left, it's going to be a 2-point ball game with Barr's conversion. 16-14, and now you know you will see the onside kick. And the Charger fans who had been leaving the stadium, you can see them. They're coming back out of the exit saying, what?
Yeah, right.
The Raiders have done it before, although it looks highly unlikely right now. The percentage of recovering an onside kick and then converting to a touchdown, pretty tough, pretty high percentage to do that. But
there's Charles Romes, who was burned. He's the new toast.
Made the great play in the first half to save what could have been a potential touchdown. And you have to wonder, it appeared they were man-to-man coverage. Why is he man-to-man on Lofton?
I guess they didn't want to go that prevent. I don't don't know why. Where was the zone? I don't understand why man coverage in the situation, unless there was a cross-up.
Well, that one was a non-prevent.
Yeah. Prevent victory. No.
16 seconds left. How many times have the Raiders broken the Chargers' hearts? And how many times, John Matuszak, were you part of it?
Not enough. I'll tell you that one time that it was really big was when the Raiders won here. And the Chargers had one of their greatest teams. It was January 11th, 1980. When the Raiders went on that championship, it was 34-28 victory. That was something else to go on and beat Philadelphia very badly in the Super Bowl.
SportsCenter follows our telecast. And remember, next week we'll be in Dallas for the Dolphins and the Cowboys. All so close. And a flag goes down as the ball goes out of bounds. We'll check the penalty.
If he touched it, it's Charger ball right there. Or you're not, we'll see.
Charger ball.
And the Chargers are happy about it.
As well they should be.
First down, right here.
Looked like it may have been touched by Pete Holohan and then gone out of bounds. So the Chargers will get the ball at the spot.
Interesting, similar finish to what it was a week ago, too, right?
That's right.
Final dying seconds of the game. Suddenly a team that really showed very little all game long.
It's a perfect kick by Chris Barr right here.
Just out of the hand.
That was very, very close. Doki Williams flying down the sideline. The ball bounces right. And the next time you see him, he's in the end zone. And now the Chargers, all they have to do is fall on the ball. The Raiders with one timeout.
The blanket backfield. Brian Holloway looking on.
Scoreboard says one timeout. It is either wrong or the Raiders are not going to use it. And Al Saunders has won his 8th straight game with the Chargers and gets a handshake from Matt Miller. All right, thanks to John Matuszak for being our guest analyst this week. Be sure to join us next week as we've got Roger Staubach, one of the greatest who ever played the game as the Dallas quarterback when Miami goes to Big D. Our final score again tonight, the San Diego Chargers 16, the LA Raiders 14. For Roy Firestone and John Matuszak, this is Mike Patrick saying so long from Jack Murphy Stadium. Now let's join our ESPN Sports Center.